Hi, this is John, and welcome to another edition of Statistics Tell a Story. I'm going to go over each of the NFL teams over under. I entered the Las Vegas Seasonal Wins contest, and I'll just briefly speak about most of these in a sentence or two. I might elaborate on a few, and then I will toss in a few that I actually bet. Lines could be slightly different. Okay, starting with the AFC North, the Ravens 11 and a half. I went over. Uh, Jim Harbaugh just does nothing but win. And the Ravens, I think, have the best roster in the NFL. And I see no reason why they can't go 12 wins or more this year. The Bengals, their number is 10. I went under. And in fact, I bet them actually also at what was it? Under 9.5. And that was actually even money. It's a plus 100, but their number is 10 in the contest. Steelers was 8.5. Some of these I actually really thought about a little more than others. Steelers was one of them. Tomlin's never had a losing season. For them to go under, he would have to have his first losing season. And I did ultimately go with the under. I just look and I think they have an average team. While Tomlin, I think, is a player's coach who can get the most out of his players, I think some of his game day decisions are very lacking. So I ended up going under. They have an above average schedule also. The Browns, their number was 5.5. I went under. And the simple reason, for the most part, what I look at three main things with each of these teams, which is coach, quarterback, and offensive line. If you're above average in all three of those, to me, you can have the worst roster, and at a minimum, you're going to go 8-8. Conversely, I think if you're below average in those three, and you have a great roster otherwise, at a maximum, you're going to go 8-8. The Browns, their coach Stefanski, I don't know what to make of him. I kind of look at him as middle of the road, although he's won two Coach of the Years awards. So Joe Flacco is not the answer. He's the starter. I don't know what they're ultimately going to do at quarterback. They have a below average offensive line. Their number is only 5.5, but I did go under 5.5. The Bills going over to the AFC East. Their number is 11.5. I went over. It's not easy. It's easy to look at teams last year and say they won 13, 14, 15 games and say, why don't they do it again? It's just hard. There's a lot of balance in the NFL, but I did go over. The Patriots, their number is 8.5. They are kind of the darling, one of the darlings of the NFL this year. I believe they only won 4 games last year. They picked up Mike Vrabel as the coach. Drake May is, projected to be an up and comer. Drake May, though, his PFF grade, I believe he was only 28th last year. So, it remains to be seen what they can do. They beefed up their offensive line. Offensive line continuity is important. And, I'm going to wait until I see it, but 8.5, I think is too many. I'm going to go under. Dolphins, their number is 7.5. They seem to be a team in disarray. I went under. The Jets, their number is, I believe it is 6. It Just a second, I dropped my paper here. And let me make sure before I commit to it. The Jets number is 6. This is a game I bet. I bet them at over 5.5, actually. That's why I had 5.5 sticking in my mind. I did have to lay 145 there. And but at 6, I still went over. I actually bet them as a long shot to win the Super Bowl. I think they're I don't certainly I think they're a slightly below average team. I think they're better than the 6 wins that their over under is. They have projecting their offensive line, I think, is above average. Their Justin Fields, he only threw one interception last year in about 150 attempts. Now, sometimes that can be misleading, but his average yards per attempt, I believe, was 6.9 yards per attempt, which is decent. That's kind of middle of the pack. He does not protect the football well, though. He fumbles a lot. Still a below average quarterback. I don't know that he's as bad as some people make him to be. He was in a really bad situation in Chicago. His situation in Pittsburgh wasn't much better. He kind of had Russell Wilson looking over his shoulders, and ultimately he was benched. But I think he might be a minor surprise. I think Aaron Glenn. I look at what Dan Campbell and D'Amico Ryans did in Detroit and Houston, respectively, and I believe that they changed the culture. And my gut feel is that Aaron Glenn might change the culture in New York. I actually got 200 to 1 to win the Super Bowl. I think it should be maybe closer to like 120 to 1, still a long shot, but I do have them going over six. Okay, the AFC West. Chiefs, 11 and a half. I'm going under, below average offensive line. I don't know that Mahomes is still the best quarterback in football. I know that's heresy in some circles, but his yards per attempt has declined now 2 years in a row. 1 year can be an aberration. 2 years, I'm not so sure. I'd probably, all other things being equal, I'd probably take Josh Allen and perhaps Lamar Jackson before Mahomes, maybe even Burrow. But Chargers, 9.5, I'm going over. This is mostly Jim Harbaugh. He just wins everywhere. Broncos, 9.5, I'm going over. Bo Nix, yeah, he beat up on a lot of bad teams last year, but I do like their offensive line. It's one of the best in football, and their defense is one of the best in football. So that's a pretty good mixture. I like over 9.5 Raiders. I also like the over 7. They bring in Pete Carroll. Geno Smith did wonders with a horrible offensive line in Seattle. And I do like the over. I actually also bet the over. Raiders, I found it at 6.5, had to lay 150, but I did bet the over there. And that is the AFC. Um, and I'm going to stop there actually. And I'm going to do the NFC. Hopefully, I should be able to do it later today or tomorrow morning. But for right now, those are the AFC over unders. And I will see you next time on Statistics Tell a Story.